Hello, my classy ladies. Let me start with a little truth that might sting. People are always watching. Whether you're walking into a cafe, standing in line at the grocery store, or sitting down at a restaurant, the world around you notices more than you think. And it's not about them being judgmental, it's just human nature. We pick up cues, consciously or not, about the way others carry themselves. And this is where elegance comes in. An elegant woman doesn't just look refined when she's at a formal dinner or dressed up for an event. She carries that same refinement into her everyday life, especially in public. Because elegance isn't about what you wear, it's about how you behave. And let me be a little controversial here. There are things that instantly destroy that refined image. Habits, behaviors, little gestures that might seem small, but they give away whether a woman is truly elegant or just trying to look the part. So today we're talking about 10 things elegant women never do in public. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly which habits to let go of if you want to radiate that quiet, confident, expensive kind of elegance, wherever you go. Before we dive into the list, let's pause for a moment. Because some women think elegance is just about the outfit, the coat, the bag, the shoes, and while those things do matter, they are only the surface. True elegance is how you carry yourself when no one is formally watching. It's the way you sit on the train, the way you order your coffee, the way you speak to the waiter who brings your drink, the way you respond when you're frustrated or impatient. That's where people see the truth. And let's be honest, it's easy to dress up for an Instagram photo, but to be elegant when you're tired, stressed, or rushed, that's the real test. So with that in mind, let's get into the first habit. The first thing elegant women never do in public is try to dominate the space with noise. You know exactly the type of behavior I mean. The woman shouting into her phone on the train, the group of friends at brunch, laughing so loudly everyone else has to turn and look, the dramatic gestures, the over-the-top reactions, the constant need for attention. Elegance thrives in calm, not in chaos. An elegant woman knows that she doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't need to demand attention. Her presence naturally draws it. This doesn't mean she's quiet or submissive. It means she's measured. She knows when to speak, how to speak, and she does so in a way that commands respect, not eye rolls. If you want to look instantly more elegant, practice lowering your voice in public, especially in shared spaces. Speak with intention, not volume. I promise, people notice the difference. The second behavior elegant women avoid is rudeness, especially towards staff, waiters, shop assistants, cleaners, taxi drivers. Nothing reveals a person's character faster than how they treat people in service roles. If a woman snaps her fingers at a waiter, rolls her eyes at a cashier, or complains loudly about how long something is taking, she immediately looks cheap. No matter what she's wearing, no matter how polished her hair is, that one behavior ruins it all. An elegant woman stays calm. She's polite. She treats everyone with respect, not just the people who can do something for her. And that's why she's remembered. Not because she demanded attention, but because she carried herself with grace in every interaction. And let's be clear, being elegant doesn't mean being a pushover. You can absolutely ask for something to be corrected, but the difference is in how you do it. With calm, with kindness, with authority that doesn't need arrogance. Now, let's talk about one of the fastest ways to lose your aura of elegance in public: oversharing. We've all been there, sitting in a cafe or on the bus, and suddenly we hear someone talking loudly about their breakup, their medical problems, their family drama, or even their bank account. The whole cafe becomes an unwilling audience to someone else's personal life. And the truth is, no matter how nice their outfit is, the impression they give off is anything but refined. Elegant women protect their privacy, not because they're secretive, but because they understand that mystery is part of allure. They don't need to spill every detail of their lives in public spaces. They share selectively, intentionally, and with the right people in the right settings. Imagine two scenarios. Woman A is loudly discussing her boyfriend's flaws on the phone at a restaurant, hands waving, voice carrying across the tables. Woman B is on the phone as well, but her tone is soft. Her words are measured, and she steps outside to finish the call when she notices she might disturb others. Which woman do you think people will describe as elegant? It's always the second. It doesn't mean you need to become cold or unapproachable. You can absolutely laugh with friends, share stories, or chat about life. But it's about awareness, knowing what belongs in private and what can be shared publicly. And here's the secret. When you hold some things back, people lean in more. They respect you more. They find you more intriguing, because elegance is always tied to a sense of mystery. The next behavior elegant women avoid in public might seem simple, but it's powerful. They never eat or drink in a way that looks careless. Now, let me clarify. Elegant women do eat in public. They enjoy meals, they share drinks, they laugh with friends. What they don't do is eat in a way that looks rushed, messy, or inconsiderate. Think of the woman who eats with her mouth open, chewing loudly, talking while food is still in her mouth. Or the one who slurps her drink, spills crumbs all over the table, or licks her fingers at the cafe. These little things might feel harmless, but they instantly chip away at the image of refinement. An elegant woman slows down. She takes smaller bites, chews quietly, and waits until she's finished swallowing before she speaks. She uses her napkin, she doesn't let her food spill everywhere, and she always looks composed, even in the simplest of moments. And here's something subtle. Elegant women never look desperate for food or drink. They don't rush as if they haven't eaten in days. They don't gulp their wine as if they're trying to escape the day. They enjoy with balance, with ease, with calm. Picture two women again. One is sitting in a cafe, eating a croissant, crumbs covering her lap, coffee cup nearly spilling because she's rushing between bites and phone scrolling. The other sits with the same croissant, but she breaks it gently, eats slowly, wipes her hands lightly, and takes her coffee with small, calm sips. The difference? One looks careless, the other looks elegant, even though both women are simply eating breakfast. And I want to stress this. Elegance doesn't mean stiffness. You don't need to eat like you're at a royal banquet every time. It's about awareness, about slowing down, about knowing that the way you handle something as simple as food is a reflection of your overall presence. Now, what ties oversharing and careless eating together? It's the same principle, self-control. An elegant woman has control over her words and her actions. She knows when to share and when to stay quiet. She knows how to enjoy a meal without making it a spectacle. And that sense of control, of choosing rather than reacting, is what makes her appear expensive and refined. Because elegance isn't about perfection. It's about restraint. It's about showing the world that you're intentional in the way you carry yourself, even in small, everyday moments. Let's talk about one of the most obvious yet often ignored truths. The way you dress in public says more than you think. An elegant woman never dresses sloppily in public. She doesn't run to the store in pajamas. She doesn't wear leggings that are see-through, and she doesn't throw on wrinkled t-shirts as if nobody will notice. Because the truth is, people do notice. They might not say anything, but they're reading signals about you every time you step outside. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be dressed like royalty for every errand. It means you respect yourself enough to look presentable, even in small moments. A simple pair of jeans, a clean blouse, and a structured coat can look 10 times more elegant than an expensive dress that's stained or wrinkled. Imagine standing in line at the supermarket. Woman A is in sweatpants, messy bun, old sneakers, and a hoodie with a coffee stain on it. Woman B is in fitted jeans, loafers, a neat sweater, and her hair brushed back into a low ponytail. Both women might have spent the same amount of money on their outfits, but one looks polished, the other looks careless. And which one do you think people subconsciously respect more? Always the one who looks intentional. The lesson here is simple. Being elegant isn't about being overdressed. It's about being appropriately dressed, always. Clothes that fit, that are clean, that are cared for. Clothes that tell the world, I respect myself enough to put in a little effort. And here's the secret. When you do this consistently, you don't just look more elegant, you feel more elegant. You hold yourself differently when you know you look presentable. That energy follows you everywhere. Another thing elegant women never do in public, they never engage in loud arguments, fights, or dramatic confrontations. We've all witnessed it. A couple shouting at each other on the street, friends screaming across a table in a restaurant, or someone going off on a cashier because they're frustrated. It's uncomfortable, it's chaotic, and it instantly strips away any sense of refinement. An elegant woman may feel angry, hurt, or frustrated. She's human after all, but she doesn't make her emotions into a public performance. She knows that raising her voice, rolling her eyes, pointing fingers, or storming off dramatically only makes her look small. Instead, she remains composed. If she needs to address an issue, she does so calmly, with measured words. If a confrontation starts, she removes herself from the scene rather than escalate it. If something needs to be said, she says it in private, not as a spectacle for strangers. Let me give you an example. Imagine two couples at dinner. Couple A starts arguing about the bill, voices rising, faces red, hands waving. Everyone around them shifts uncomfortably. Couple B disagrees too, but the woman leans in, speaks softly, and settles it with dignity. Which couple leaves the stronger impression? It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing grace over chaos. And here's something important. People often mistake drama for passion, as if being loud proves that you care. But in reality, calmness shows more power. A woman who doesn't lose control, even when she's upset, looks far more commanding and elegant than one who makes a scene. Notice how these two behaviors, dressing sloppily and arguing publicly, are connected. They're both about neglecting self-awareness. One is neglecting how you look, the other is neglecting how you act. And in both cases, the result is the same. You lose respect, both from others and from yourself. An elegant woman avoids this because she knows that elegance is consistency. It's not about the big moments, it's about the everyday ones. When she steps outside, she chooses neatness. When conflict arises, she chooses composure. And in doing so, she instantly looks more expensive, more powerful, and more graceful than those around her. One of the clearest signs of true elegance is how a woman speaks when others aren't around. And this is why elegant women never gossip or tear people down in public. Think about it. You're sitting at a cafe and the table next to you is filled with women loudly talking about how another friend gained weight, how their boss is incompetent, or how they can't stand their neighbors. Maybe you don't even know the person they're talking about, but you instantly form an impression of them. They sound bitter, negative, even insecure, because here's the truth. Gossip doesn't make you look powerful. It makes you look small. When you speak badly about someone who isn't there to defend themselves, you reveal more about your own character than theirs. An elegant woman understands this. She knows that if she gossips about others, people will assume she does the same about them when they're not around. And nothing erodes trust faster than that. That doesn't mean she's always silent or that she never shares her feelings. Of course, she might express disappointment, frustration, or even criticism, but she does it privately, directly, and with intention, never as idle chatter over coffee in a public space. There's also the tone to consider. Elegant women don't indulge in sarcasm, cruelty, or mockery. They keep their words measured, respectful, and constructive. Because words have weight, and she knows hers should build her presence, not diminish it. The next time you're tempted to gossip in public, pause and remember this. People won't remember the details of your story, but they will remember that you seemed like the type of woman who tears others down. And that's the opposite of elegance. The next behavior elegant women avoid in public is exaggerated displays of affection. Now, let's be clear. Affection itself is beautiful. Holding hands, a soft kiss, a gentle hug, these can be sweet, genuine, and perfectly refined. But when affection becomes exaggerated, overly physical, or performed for attention, it crosses into the territory of cheapness. We've all seen it. Couples practically glued together at the restaurant table, kissing loudly in the park, or wrapped around each other in line at the grocery store. Instead of reading as romantic, it reads as performative. It makes the people around them uncomfortable, and it strips the interaction of its intimacy. An elegant woman knows that less is more. She doesn't need to prove her love to the world by turning it into a show. Her relationships are strong enough without needing public validation. When she shows affection in public, it's subtle, graceful, and private. A hand resting gently on her partner's arm, a soft smile, a quiet word. And here's the deeper truth. Intimacy is most powerful when it's reserved. The moments you share with your partner are more meaningful when they're private. Turning them into a public spectacle cheapens the bond instead of strengthening it. So yes, elegant women are warm, affectionate, and loving, but they know that romance is not a performance. Now let's tie these two habits together because they might seem unrelated at first. Gossiping about others and being overly affectionate in public actually share the same root problem, a need for attention. When someone gossips, they're trying to draw attention to themselves by making others look smaller. When someone exaggerates affection in public, they're trying to draw attention to their relationship. In both cases, the message is, look at me, look at my life, pay attention to me. But elegant women don't chase attention. They attract it naturally by being composed, mysterious, and intentional. That's why you notice them in a room even when they're not trying. Elegance is never loud. It doesn't need to be. Let's be honest. Our phones are practically glued to our hands these days, but the way you use your phone in public speaks volumes about your elegance. And this is why elegant women are intentional with their phones, because nothing can cheapen your image faster than careless, loud, or distracting phone behavior. We've all seen it. The woman walking through the supermarket on speakerphone, voice raised, the entire store forced to listen to her conversation. Or the person scrolling at dinner, ignoring the people sitting right in front of them. Or worse, blasting TikToks or videos on full volume with no headphones in a cafe. Every time this happens, the message is the same. My comfort is more important than everyone else's, and that message is never elegant. An elegant woman knows that her phone is a tool, not a stage. She keeps her conversations private. If she needs to take a call, she steps outside or lowers her voice. She doesn't scroll aimlessly when she's with company because she values real presence over digital distraction. And she would never, ever force strangers to become part of her call by putting it on speaker in public. It's not about being perfect. Of course, sometimes you need to check something quickly, or a call comes through at an inconvenient time. But it's about how you handle it, calmly, discreetly, with respect for those around you. That's what makes the difference. And here's the subtle truth. When a woman isn't glued to her phone, she automatically stands out. She looks more confident, more self-assured, and yes, more elegant. Because nothing looks cheaper than someone who can't survive 5 minutes without scrolling. Now, let's move to another big one. Elegant women never use vulgar language or crude behavior in public. This doesn't mean they never get angry. It doesn't mean they're fake or overly restrained. It means they have self-control over their words. Think about it. You're in line at the coffee shop and you hear someone cursing every second word, swearing at their friend, or shouting insults because they're irritated. No matter how stylish that person looks, the words cheapen them instantly. Harsh, vulgar language strips away grace. An elegant woman chooses her words with care. She can express frustration without shouting obscenities. She can be funny without being crude. She can make her point without raising her voice or resorting to insults. And that's what makes her so magnetic. She's powerful without needing aggression. And it's not just about words. Vulgar behavior counts too. Things like spitting on the street, making crude jokes loudly, or engaging in inappropriate gestures in public. These things might get attention, but not the kind of attention you want. The beauty of elegance is that it doesn't shock. It intrigues. It draws you in without lowering itself. That's why an elegant woman avoids vulgarity. Not because she's uptight, but because she knows her presence is stronger than any loud word could ever be. Now, let me say something important. Elegance is not about being stiff, perfect, or robotic. It's not about living in fear of doing something wrong. True elegance is about awareness and self-respect. You know who you are. You know what you value. You know that your presence, your words, and your actions leave an impression. And because of that, you choose refinement over chaos, composure over drama, kindness over arrogance. The real difference between an elegant woman and everyone else is choice. She chooses not to gossip. She chooses not to argue publicly. She chooses to carry herself in a way that reflects dignity. And over time, those choices become her identity. Why does it matter if you avoid these habits? Because the way you behave in public creates the story people tell about you when you're not there. They may not remember the exact outfit you wore, but they will remember the way you spoke to the waiter. They may not notice your manicure in detail, but they'll remember if you were scrolling through TikTok while ignoring your friend across the table. Elegance is not just what people see, it's what they feel when they're around you. And when you consistently carry yourself with grace, people feel respect, admiration, and trust in your presence. So here's my challenge to you, my classy ladies. The next time you step outside, carry these 10 little reminders with you. Ask yourself, am I speaking with grace? Am I treating others with respect? Am I walking tall and presenting myself with care? Because elegance isn't something you put on like a coat and take off when you get home. It's a way of life. It's in the way you talk, the way you eat, the way you handle frustration, the way you exist in the world. And when you live this way consistently, you don't just look elegant, you become elegant. People notice. Opportunities open. Your presence changes rooms before you even say a word. So remember, my elegant friends, never underestimate the power of small choices. They are what make you unforgettable. Until next time, stay graceful, stay confident, and of course, stay classy.